Hello and welcome to the fourth video in a series on creating your first project. In this video, we'll be covering how to control what you show your audience. As mentioned earlier, all these toggles are automated. I will now go through the various functions available to you to control what is visible to different types of audiences within your project. As you can see over here, all of these pages are marked visible except the under construction page. Now it's super easy to change that. So let's, for example, disable the sign up page. So let's say you don't want your users to be able to sign up. And then next, let's, for example, disable the agenda page because you potentially might not need that. And then let's go and enable a chat room page. So once you've done that, you can go into your page elements and you can click on your header. And over here, you'll see that your sign in page is still here, but your sign up page is no longer available. Now, if you go and click on setup on the right over here, you'll see that similar functionality is available over here. Now, there's a big difference between a page being live and a page being visible. You can, for instance, still have a page live, but you can hide it essentially by toggling off the visibility in this section over here. That is useful if, for example, you wanted to test a specific page with your team, but you don't necessarily want it to be public. Now, this public toggle over here essentially determines what's visible for registered users or users viewing the page as a guest. Now, to demonstrate this, let me, for example, switch off the gallery view. You'll notice that the gallery is still available in the registered user view, but we can't see it in the guest view. Now is also maybe a good time just to explain that if a page is nested within a drop-down menu, the drop-down menu visibility will affect all the pages listed underneath that. If we switch on the public view for the More drop-down menu, you'll see that it appears in the guest view. If we now then switch off public view for the gallery, you'll see that it no longer appears in the drop-down menu for the guest view. And then just once again, if you switch off the public view for a drop-down menu, for example, you'll see that the entire menu with its content no longer appears in that specific view. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and save my changes. And then let's go to our pages. Now in these columns over here, you'll see that you can toggle on and off the visibility for different pages as we've discussed earlier. You can also toggle on and off the header and footer menus. So in some places, for example, you can have only a header menu, and in other places, only a footer menu. But the possibility also exists that you can completely switch off header and or footer menus. Normally you would do this for, let's say, your 3D experiences or your apps, where you want to embed them as full screen iframe pages. If you decide to do that, it's your responsibility then to include a, let's say, back button or a home screen button just to get them out of this full screen page. Or potentially you don't need a header or footer where you set your 3D created page as your entry point where users go straight into your full screen page after registration without needing a header or a footer. Now there are more functionalities specifically on stages where you can control your broadcast, but we'll be covering that in a separate video. Thank you very much for joining us. Feel free to have a look at our next video where we'll be covering the adding of a second language.